Cybersecurity is kind of a tricky one. There's a lot of information out there and it's really hard to just start out as a beginner. So let's cover the 3 most important areas. Stick around to the end for some free resources to help you dive deeper. One simple way to describe it is protecting people and their computers from bad people and their bad computers. So let's kind of break that down. You've got the digital side of cybersecurity, passwords, passphrases, and passkeys, accounts to online systems, operating system running on the computer. These are all the digital touch points that cybersecurity entail. And then there's the physical of cybersecurity, badges and ID cards to get in and out of buildings. Cybersecurity is like so broad. And then there's the social element, the habits, the knowledge of people using computers. Are people aware of their own behaviors, whether it's at work or at home? And then the other side, the bad people, but there's like a big range of what that actually looks like. On one end, it can just be bored teenagers who are just kind of curious to see if they can break into somebody's computer, and they might do bad things. Going up a notch, this is something that has just exploded. It's scammers. We may have been a victim ourselves. We may have had family members or friends who have fell victims to scams. Clearly, scams work, and scammers are a big problem. I mean, how many YouTube channels are there already of just scam betas and ones who are investigating scams? Then moving up a notch, you've got people who are more sophisticated than the scammer. And these are the unethical hacker groups. These type of bad actors have bad intent to break into systems. They can get money from their victims. They can blackmail their victims, generally motivated by money. But the difference is they are more sophisticated and have more skills than, say, the scammers of the world. Then right at the top is what we know as sponsored state actors, the ones who have got the skills and the money behind them, supposedly the ones working for governments. And all of these people are trying to break into systems or gain access to accounts from their victims. They use tools, just like a thief trying to break into a house. There's like tools that are being used. So like the bored teenagers of the world may just like deface their school website. So they're just kind of like intrigued to see like what they can get away with. Then the scammers are more driven by like financial gain. They may use tools like phishing. So these are those emails that we get, text messages or calls. A lot of the times they're sending just wide casts of net and they're phishing to catch somebody. Then the hacker group, they are fully equipped with maybe the latest tools, malware or ransomware. They can just pull it off the shelf. They can just download it from a repo on GitHub. And then those sponsored state actors again, they may even craft their own payloads and like write specific code to break into a specific system. So what does this mean for you? Like, what are the fundamentals or basics to enter into this field? It's described as like 2 teams, red and blue. Red being simulating those criminal activities to attempt with permission to access systems. They're not just like handed the keys like, hey, come into our network and wreak havoc. No, like they have to simulate attacking like an attacker would. So it's still protecting people and their computers from bad actors. It's just doing it in a simulated way. And then on the blue side, this form of cybersecurity has been around since the dawn of computers almost. Network security, sysadmin, managing networks. Security has just become more of an importance as the internet has grown and everybody is online. So it's kind of up to you, like there's no reason why you can't learn both, but it does open up a lot of interesting rabbit holes to go down. A lot of the tools that are made out there in the cybersecurity realm are often on Linux. Just opens up all these new avenues of how to interact with your system more efficiently, more effectively. And then networking is just like a massive topic. How computers like actually communicate, how frames and packets are sent from one system to the next. And then there's just like a lot of different technologies to learn. All the different forms of encryption, programming languages. You don't need to be a coder or a developer to be in cybersecurity. Programming helps automate. One of the languages out there that's commonly used is Python. That in itself is a whole other thing. But what's so good about cybersecurity is like you don't need to be an expert in any of these fields, because the reality is the technology landscape is just like constantly changing. There's new hack vectors, there's new scams, groups and malware. Knowing a lot of all the different technologies out there just really helps when new stuff comes up. You can be a little bit more prepared and a little bit more familiar. Before we get into our last point, stick around for the bonus answers that we've got to some common questions. Lastly, how do you get started? How do you like get into cybersecurity? Luckily today, there's just more doors getting into the industry than ever before. There's a lot of like no fee, low fee learning resources out there that you can just jump on and just like start figuring things out. There's like really great all-in-one platforms like TryHackMe, Hack the Box, and that hold your hand along the way as you're learning at your own pace. And then there's more platform specific ones out there that just focus on red team, blue team, or even just on the cloud like AWS, Azure. And also luckily, there's a lot of free courses out there. The Cyber Mentor being a fantastic content creator and also course creator. There's so many great YouTubers and bloggers out there now. One course that I highly recommend is Hopper's Roppers. Dennis has an incredible fundamentals course and walks you through all the steps in these fundamentals that we've listed out today. And beyond these courses, you can even go for cert, the OSCP, CCNA, Security Plus, Certified Ethical Hacker, and then all the tools that you need. A lot of the tools don't have paywalls. The cybersecurity community in itself are just full of curious people who love the industry and love learning and love what they do, that they make a lot of tools and they give them out. It's just a part of giving back to the community. But to really get into cybersecurity with all those good things, at the end of the day, it just takes a lot of practice. If you just like stay consistent and put the time and effort in, all these great resources will help you, but you still have to do the work. Anytime you get stuck, everything's pretty much on the internet. You can just search up. And with artificial narrow intelligence, the tools right now are really good at giving you feedback on what you need. As you learn, use these tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, or download Meta's Llama and just run your own AI model on your local system. There's just a lot of options these days to get instant feedback and instant help wherever you're learning. All right, let's go over a few bonus questions that you may have. Can a beginner learn cybersecurity? Absolutely. Everyone has to start somewhere. Nobody is just born into being like an expert in anything. Cybersecurity is no different. How do I start learning cybersecurity on my own? So use the platforms mentioned in the video. I'll put a link down to all the resources that I've personally used in the description below. I think the biggest barrier is just like knowing where to start, but once you do get started, then it's just about putting the work in. What are the basics of cybersecurity? So we've covered a lot of the basics just in this video. Those main ones again being learning your operating systems like Linux, understanding the fundamentals of networking, starting to dive into all the different technologies out there that are used, like different forms of encryption, Wi-Fi protocols, and programming languages like Python. And we touched on the changing landscape. I would probably add that like staying up to date with the news in cybersecurity, there's a lot of great news resources online, whether that's coming through content creators or news outlets, videos, podcasts, newsletters. It's easy these days to stay up to date with cyber and what's going on. Is cybersecurity beginner friendly? Yeah, so I think the barrier to entry to cybersecurity has been lowering and lowering, which is great. There's more opportunities for anyone to jump in at any time. I wouldn't say that cybersecurity is a beginner-friendly field. With a lot of things in technology, the more you learn about something in tech, like the more you start learning, wow, I don't know a lot. And cybersecurity is just like such a vast field. Sure, you can begin kind of easily, but it really comes down to like your work ethic and like having some sort of tenacity and like drive to like keep learning. There's just a lot of walls of, I don't know what this is. I don't know what I'm doing. And it's quite easy to like give up at those points. Is cybersecurity beginner friendly? In the beginning, I think it is, but I think it quickly goes into not so beginner friendly, which is a good thing. If everything is seeming easy to you, then you're not really being challenged. So yeah, yes and no. Is 40 too old to learn cybersecurity? I don't know why the age 40 would be too old. Definitely never too old to get into cybersecurity. There's a lot of professionals out there in the tech that have not technically been in a cybersecurity role, that have years and years of knowledge and want to change from being a sysadmin, and they've got a lot of the skills to go over into cybersecurity. Even if somebody didn't have a background in tech, you can still jump into cyber. Like, there's no reason why anyone over the age of 40 couldn't learn cybersecurity. I just do think it comes down to having an open mind with how to learn. There's just no textbook for learning cybersecurity. That book would just quickly become outdated, even as the book is being written. A lot of the fundamentals of like networking and stuff, sure, like they're not going to change. There's just so many more technologies that come out. You don't just read and expect to like learn everything. Like, just be open to learning. And lastly, is cybersecurity a lot of math? I think it's similar to cybersecurity being beginner friendly. There's not a lot of math in getting into cybersecurity. I think if you go down certain paths like learning encryption, yeah, there's a lot of math. I personally am not good at math. I will have my calculator open, be Googling how to figure something out. So you don't have to be good at math. Similar to programming, where like you don't need to be a coder or a developer or proficient in any language of programming. It doesn't hurt to have those skills. And it doesn't hurt to be open to learning those skills, which is a good reminder, I should be open to learning more math. So it doesn't hurt, but it's not necessary to be in cybersecurity. So I hope you've got value from this video and you feel more confident to start your journey in cybersecurity. Check out my video on Kali Linux to get started.